serve 2 as a main course or 4 as a starter, you'll need, for the citrus mayonnaise, 150 ml, that's 5 fluid ounces of mayonnaise, 1 teaspoon each of finely grated lemon zest and orange zest, and 1 teaspoon each of lemon juice and orange juice. For the crab cakes, you'll need 2 tablespoons of the citrus mayonnaise, about 200 grams, 7 ounces of crab meat, preferably brown and white, and that can be fresh, defrosted, frozen or tinned, 1 egg, about 75 grams, 3 ounces of fresh breadcrumbs, 2 tablespoons of freshly chopped coriander, 1 small red chilli, de-seeded and finely chopped, 2 spring onions, thinly sliced, you can use the white and green parts, some salt, a little plain flour for coating, and some vegetable oil for shallow frying. To make the mayonnaise, it's as simple as just putting all the ingredients together. That's the orange juice, lemon rind and orange rind, into the mayonnaise and mixing it well. And it's important to do this step first because you're going to need some of this mayonnaise for the crab cakes. And once that's done, just transfer 2 tablespoons of the mixture to a large mixing bowl. We're going to use that, as I just mentioned, in the crab cakes. And then cover the remaining amount with cling film and refrigerate until you're ready to serve the crab cakes. Making the crab cakes is just as easy. To the mayonnaise in the bowl, I've added the crab meat, the egg. I'm going to add most of the breadcrumbs, not all of them, because I want to have some sort of control over the end texture. And then we have the freshly chopped coriander, the red chilli. If you don't like chilli, you can easily leave them out. They're still very delicious. Spring onions and some salt. And then you literally just mix that up. I'm using a metal spoon. Make sure it's all very well blended. You want the brown and white crab meat to be well distributed through the whole mixture. I'm going to add the rest of my breadcrumbs. If you're using tinned crab meat, you may have to use a little bit more breadcrumbs to make sure that the mixture will be firm enough to form into crab cakes. So once that's done, you can then form them into 6 crab cakes if you're serving 2 as a main course, or if you're serving 4, divide the mixture into 8 portions and make the 8 portions into 8 crab cakes. I'm making this as a main course, so I've divided the mixture more or less into 6 equal portions. It's easier to do it this way in the bowl. And then I'm going to place some flour onto a large plate. Flour my hands and then take each portion and gently form them into first a ball. You do need very well floured hands, and once they're in a ball you can just pat them down so that they form little crab cakes. They shouldn't be any deeper than 1 centimetre, that's about ½ inch. And you do that for all of them. And whilst I'm doing this, I just want to have a little word about the crab. As I mentioned earlier, you can use any type of crab, frozen, which has been defrosted, tinned or fresh. But if possible, do try to use a mixture of both brown and white crab meat. The white crab meat is always favoured, but for recipes like this, whoops, the brown crab meat really does add extra flavour. Now if you're using tinned crab meat, I've discovered, as well as the normal white crab meat, you can buy what they call dressed crab meat. And it's actually, or it looks like the brown crab meat, which has been seasoned with some spices, so some really great extra flavour. The dressed crab meat come in very little tins, but one of those tins plus a tin of normal white crab meat will suffice. So here we have the finished crab cakes, all ready to be fried. Now they actually do benefit from a short spell in the fridge just to firm them up, and they can actually stay in the fridge for a few hours if you need to make them ahead of time. So just cover with cling film and place in the fridge until you're ready to fry them. It's not absolutely necessary, but it makes them easier to handle when they're being fried. So once you're ready to cook your crab cakes, heat the oil in a large frying pan. You don't need too much oil, about 12 millimetres deep. The pan should be as large as you can get it, because the crab cakes shouldn't be touching each other once they're in the oil. If you haven't got a pan large enough, then just cook them in batches. Anyway, pop them in. And you need to cook them for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. Now don't be tempted to move them around too much when you first start cooking them, because that's the way they'll break apart. Leave them for a good 2 minutes or so over a medium heat until they're really beginning to get well browned, and then you can attempt to turn them over. In the meantime, if you line your plate with some kitchen roll, paper towels, because they're going to need to be drained, just crumple it up and place it on a plate, ready for when they're cooked. So these have been cooking for about 1.5 minutes. I'm just going to try and nudge one, just to see how easily it moves. And it actually does move very easily. And before I go gung-ho and turn them over, I just want to make sure that they're nice and brown. So I'll slide my fish slice under and just take a little look. As you can see, that is, so very carefully turn them over, and I'll cook these for a further 3 to 4 minutes. So I've been turning mine. I've probably turned them 2 or 3 times. They're golden brown on all sides, and they've been cooking for overall about 8 minutes. And I think they're ready now, so I have my paper-lined plate ready, and I'm just going to take them off and drain them on the kitchen paper. Now there's nothing worse than greasy fish cakes, so just blot the tops with some extra kitchen paper before serving them. And to serve them, just place 3 on a plate and then top with a dollop of the citrus mayonnaise. Delicious oriental crab cakes with citrus mayonnaise.